Hello, welcome to USC YouTube channel. Actually now I'm on my way to go and pick my daughter up from her tuition. Okay, why is it that I suddenly would like to do this video? Because of late I realized that there is this phenomenon where there are owners who are very anxious to sell off their property, and yet despite having staged their property to be presentable, despite engaging the most prominent agent in that area, after waiting for weeks and even some into months, yet there are zero inquiries for viewing appointments, and not to say any offers coming in. So all these owners are thinking and scratching their head, hey, what is happening? Why is it that there are no takers to my properties? Okay, so today I decided that I would like to do a video on this topic. I would like to share based on my experience. If those of you who knows me by now, you should know that I'm a property agent by profession, and of course I started off as a property investor, and I've been doing that for the past more than 10 years. So based on the experience, I have actually helped numerous owners to sell off their properties. I would say more than hundreds if not thousands of owners to sell off their property, both during good times and bad times. And from my experience, I can tell you, like now, in fact, our property market is in bad times. I would say in low season, market sentiment is at its lowest, thanks to Mr. COVID. You know, so if you are finding yourself trying to sell off your property at this time, I'm very sure you absolutely need to sell it off, probably due to you're facing some financial cash flow crunch, or you see that there are better investment deal out there with better returns, and you like to you see an opportunity cost in this area and would like to sell off your current property portfolio in order to release some cash and bullets so that you can reinvest the same amount of money into a better investment returns deal, right? So you find yourself in this conundrum where you have been trying to sell off your property but at no luck, then there is one factors that you definitely would like to look into it, which is your asking price. You know, when it comes to trying to sell off property at the down market or at buyer's market, means now buyer has got more power. You as the owner seller has got, I would say, zero power or maybe very minimal power. And worse still, if you are in an urgency to sell off your property, means you do not have any time as your ally in this instance, then you definitely have to lower your asking price. How do you do that? First, you have to check what are the other competitions that you're looking at. That means if today you have got a unit of condominium that which you like to sell it off, check on the market what are other similar listings that is being advertised for sale and what is their asking price. And if you want to make sure that your property got inquiry for viewing, you have to make sure that you price it at least same, or if not slightly lower than the existing competitions that you are looking at, right? Then secondly, try to engage an agent who specializes in that area, who knows the area well, and give them your listing. Thirdly, let this agent reduce the price significantly at once and not at an incremental stages. You know, there are some owners who are very tempted to tell the agent, you try to reduce my asking price on an incremental basis. That means you try out 390,000 first, even though my bottom price is at 350,000, but you try to advertise at 390 first and see how's the response. If there is no response, then you need to reduce by 10k on a weekly basis. That I would tell you that it would actually backfires, because the longer your listing is on the market, the least attractive it will get. Any potential buyers will get very nervous when they are looking at a listing that has been listed on the market for long, because they may be thinking to themselves, hey, this property has been on the market for so long and yet nobody is taking it. Could that be problem in this property, which I don't see it? So the shorter your property is being listed on the market, the more attractive it is, and vice versa. Okay, so today if you find yourself that after you have exhausted all options in trying to sell off your property and yet there is still no takers, please remember, you have to look at lowering your asking price as the final option. I'm sharing this with you not just based on theory, but also based on my own experience as a property investor. I have tried to sell off my property in recent years when our local property market is already experiencing declining stages. I remember I did engage the service of an agent to try to sell off a landed property for me as recent as I think 3 years ago. At the point of time, I told this agent that my bottom price was 580,000, and guess what? Finally, I sold it off at 545. I took a bite of 35,000. But why did I still took that bite? Because I know the opportunity cost, and I know that when we are trying to sell off our property in a declining market, we can't expect to be able to sell it off at the ideal price that we want. But to me, at least I get to offload off a baggage, or I get to sell off a property which I no longer find it attractive, and I get to unlock those cash to reinvest into other better alternative or other deals which is giving better returns, right? So I think with that in mind, it makes sense for me to just bite the bullet and sell it off. So the same, even this year, I have helped 2 of my clients to sell off their property. Same as well. At first, when they give me their price, we call this Mr. R. At first, he told me that his bottom price to sell off his apartment in Falim was 180,000. But due to the MCO, thanks to Mr. COVID, our market suddenly got even worse. Then that's when I told Mr. R that we need to further reduce the price to remain competitive, and he took my advice, and eventually I helped him to sell off his apartment somewhere in end of June, when we are in recovery mode. So he was very happy with that. And another Mr. A, we call it Mr. A, originally he told me that he wanted to sell off his landed property at 500,000. Was his bottom price. But guess what? In the end, I managed to help him to conclude a deal around 470. That was his further reduced price that he looked at after factoring into the weaker market sentiment due to Mr. COVID. So all these customers actually accepted my professional advice, and I managed to help them to sell off their properties. But for other owners who have tried to engage my service to help them to sell off their property, and I declined their request, that was because they refused to accept my advice when it comes to the asking price, and they are still not being realistic with the situation, and they still insist on the asking price that they had in their mind. So for cases like this, I have actually turned down a listing like this to owners because I know that it will be a waste of time on my part and also on the owner's part, when I know that there's no way we could conclude the deal at the current sentiment at the price that they are looking at. So that's it. This is what I would like to share. So today, if you find yourself in similar predicament, trying to sell off your properties but without producing any result, maybe it's high time for you to look at your property asking price. If you find value in my video, in this content, do give a thumbs up to my video, as it really helps in growing my channel. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I upload my video on a weekly basis. Okay, as usual, be aggressive in learning, but be safe in investing. Bye bye.